Um, so we're gonna do like a little summary from yesterday's class. Everybody slept good? You guys can sleep now. So what is Ayurveda? Just, you don't need to look at the books, just, really.
Science of life or knowledge of life.
And how old is it anyway? Is it 500 years old or 5,000 years old?
5,000.
Okay. You saw it on your pre-text, right? They had like an option, it was like 500 years old. That was wrong. What else would you say about Ayurveda?
It's a holistic science. Takes the entire mind, body, and spirit of an individual into account rather than just focusing on symptoms of the body.
Mm-hmm. Very good. We also talk about the modalities in Ayurveda. Just mention some modalities.
Herbs, oils, massage, leeching.
Leash. Is leash therapy? It's not leashing.
Oh, yeah.
Blood okay. Leash therapy.
Panchakarma.
Panchakarma.
Yoga.
So, since I wrote yesterday, we talked about Panchakarma, and so you know how it's written, it's Panchakarma. Pancha means 5 and karma means action. So those are 5 actions that we do throughout the whole process of Panchakarma. Okay? Those 5 actions like induce vomiting, like vamana, to clear all the upper part of the body. You have Vireshana, which is laxative that are clearing. You have leech therapy. Nasya, which are some medicated oils that you put through the nose passages that affect right away your brain. And any conditions basically from the shoulders up. It's a very profound treatment. And Basti, which are medicated enemas. So those are the 5 karmas that we do in the Panchakarma. But of course, before that, you prepare the patient, the client. You have a preparatory phase, Panchakarma, and post phase. I mean, it's divided. We'll study that when time comes, but you have like a general idea now. What else?
Yoga. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gym therapy.
Marma. Mm-hmm.
Or Roma therapy, no? Like essential oil?
Yes, you can do it. What else?
Food.
Something that is very close. We separate pranayama.
Meditation.
Pranayama is breathing exercises. Okay, so at least you should know 10. I mean, you can, what else are we missing? Massage, you can go and you can speak about like Abhyanga, which is the massage in Ayurveda. Abhyanga, you can talk about Swedana, which is the steam therapy. Swedana, you can talk about bastiks that are done locally. Like the bastiks in Panchakarma are different. Those are enemas through the anus. But there are bastiks that it's basically the retention of oil in an area. You make with a dough, you make like a ring and you put it on the skin. We'll teach you how to do that. You basically attach it on the skin. It's a specific dough. It's not any dough. And then you put the medicated oil, let's say you have knee pain. You do the ring and you place it on the knee or the lower back. Or the Grivavasti, which is the neck, or Karivasti, which is the lower back. Or Hidravasti, actually on the heart. We do it on the heart region, unless the person has high blood pressure. But we'll study that later on, okay? So those are also called bastings, but they're not the basting I'm speaking about when I talk about Panchakarma. So, okay, you know it. Then we spoke about the classifications of the specialty in Ayurveda. So do you remember those?
Ophthalmology, pediatrics, and gynecology.
Very good. There are 8.
Is psychology right?
Psychology, very good. Okay, so you have psychology, psychiatry, spiritual counseling. All that is in one category, right?
That's the booth, toxicology.
Yes. Toxicology. Let's all work together. So, someone else.
Ears, nose, and throat, and
Right.
head. ENT.
ENT, ophthalmology,
Internal medicine.
internal medicine,
Gynecology.
obstetrics,
Gerontology. Gerontology. Rejuvenation.
Very good. So one that we
Surgery.
all laughed about, the how it's like a
Sex-
whole
sex-
branch and it's
yeah.
sexology.
Sexology and
Actually, I prefer
Aphrodisiacs.
that I call it, aphrodisiacs, yes. That's more.
what is it? Rejuvenation.
Brasayana here in gerontology is
That's rejuvenation.
rejuvenation. Okay, so you have the 8. Clear? Okay. So then we're studying the methods of diagnosis, right? We have 3-fold examination,
8.
A and 10. And what is A and 10? What are they?
They're the same as 3, just more in detail.
Expounded on the 3.
Yes, very good. What are the 3-fold examination?
Observation.
Do you remember the names in Sanskrit?
Darsana.
Darshanam, Prashanam, and Prasnam. Darsh.
Prashna. Is that how you pronounce it?
Prasnam. Darshanam.
Prasana.
Sorry. Darshanam. Sparshanam. Which sometimes you don't see the A, you just see a sparshan in the books. Okay? And Prasna. What is darshan?
Observation.
Observation. Sparshan.
Evaluation.
And Prasna?
Interrogation.
Very good. The 8-fold. What are the 8-fold? Remember, as Rogi Pariksha. This is more, the 8-fold, it's what you The tenfold is what you ask the client about, more the physicality where they live and exactly. And the eightfold is more specific to the client, where you actually see body secretions. You analyze the pulse, remember?
That's what I was like, power emotion.
You have nadi. Let me get this on the nadi. What else? Mutram. What is mutram?
Urine.
Yes.
Malam.
Remember, malam. This is one of the words that, later on today, I remember I have to go through the Sanskrit words and tell you which ones you're gonna. Mala means waste product. So you can say mala or malam. So basically mala is referred to the bowel movements in this case. What else?
Jiva.
What is that?
Tongue. Santam. Sparsham. That's like the same as the threefold. That word, sparsham.
Yeah. What is sabdam?
Voice of speech.
Yes. It's the voice that speaks, and sparsham.
Touch or palpation.
Right. So when you see the word sparge, it has to do with palpation, like on the skin. Okay? Even though this sparsham, it's literally the meaning is palpation, but it refers, it's very general. When we're talking about sparsham on the eightfold examination, it's specifically palpation of the skin. Okay? Because that's basically the only thing you can palpate, right? I mean, the skin, when we speak about the hair, it's also a waste product. Remember, we spend so much money on hair and nails, and it's a waste product. This is a waste product, like literally. When you're making bone, when the bone tissue is being made around 25 days during the month, you make tissues every 35 days. You will learn that. In 5 days, you make plasma. In other 5 days, you make blood. Another 5 days, you make muscle. Another 5 days, adipose, like that. That's when we recommend an herb. Let's say it's an herb for the skin. And skin is plasma and blood, right? Skin, liver, skin, eyes, right? When you look at the skin, it's blood. So when you recommend an herb, within 10 days, you're supposed to see some changes in the tissue. Why? Because within 10 days, the body will be creating plasma and blood. See, if it's an herb that is for ashti dhatu, which is bone tissue, you gotta wait those 20, so that's why when the practitioner sees a client, you ask them to come in 4 weeks or 5 weeks. Because by then, there's a new set of tissues being created. And you should be able to see some difference, even though we always give a third of the time from when the client have a condition to see some difference. So you minimum 3 months, minimum, to see any kind of improvement. Those, then you find people that are more sensitive and they can see an improvement in 2 days, or like right away. But so Drik is eyes. Remember, not only eye but also vision. And what is Sakti? Yes. So tenfold examination. You have Dushyam, Desham, Bali, Kalam, Anam, Prakriti, Vayas, Sattvam, Satman, and Aharam. So tell me what is what? What is Dushyam?
The body, the structure of the body.
Right. The structure of the body. What is darshan? I expect on your test, I mean, of course, if you say that in the English words, that's totally fine, but I will really be very happy if you can tell me those words. No, because when you go to India, that's the terms, that's how they're going to speak. And I don't want you to be lost. I mean, you guys, you know. So, you know, it's good for you. Darshan?
Geography.
Geography. What that refers to?
Where the clients live, the mountain, near the mountain, near the ocean.
Right. Because if someone is like highly dry, like their constitution, and they live in the desert, you know, like close to a mountain, how is this person going to be? This person most likely will be sick. You know, but say according to the constitution, they will have specific issues. You see? So this is very important. Balam,
Physical strength. Physical strength.
physical strength. Kalam,
The season.
season. Here you basically talk about relieving and aggravating factors. You know, like you ask them, okay, when do you feel? And sometimes you even go on the day. Let's say the asthma attack is in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening. It definitely indicates something different. Okay, so that you will learn also when time comes. Like let's say. The pain of the arthritis. You know, the arthritis could be of 3 types. It could be like cracking in the bones and very painful. It could be like when you touch the joint, it's like red or, I'm sorry, not red, but like warm, and it looks a little red. Mm-hmm. And it could be the arthritis, which is a lot of edema, like when you see the joints, it's actually full of liquid. So even though arthritis, it is said, is a Vata disorder because there's involved like bones and pain and cracking, and it's not, I mean, you really have to get down to what kind of arthritis we're talking about. And the person might feel more pain in the evening, in the morning. So all this is very important, and that goes under season. Not only the season, but also the time of the day. I mean, you have to be able to ask these questions. And Anand?
Digestion.
Digestion. Breathing?
Ayurvedic constitution.
Constitution. Vayas. Age. Sattvam.
Psychology.
Yes. State of mind. Satvian.
Personal habits.
Here, basically, you need to get to know. I mean, when the person comes to see you, there should be like a trust established. You know, like you ask about addictions, you ask about routines, you ask about, okay, do you smoke, or do you, how many, like do you drink coffee, do you know, like all these questions, they're under Satvian. And then Aham, food. This is a very good word that you can start, I mean all of them, but Ahara, it's the essence of food. So when you eat, the essence of the food that's being extracted, what's really nutrition, what's really gonna give you the force to create those tissues is called ahara. So ahara basically is what is extracted from the food, and from that ahara you're gonna start creating plasma, blood, muscle. Okay? So that's called ahara. If you want to know a little more, you will learn this, but it's ahara rasa. But ahara, you know, we talk ahara like food, like something very general. But ahara, I want you to know that it's the essence of food. the very first thing that you need to create tissues in the body. Okay? Is that clear? We move on. You guys are going to do so good. Okay, so after that, we talked about what is Ayurveda based on?
6 principles, the 6 philosophies.
6 philosophies of life. What's the name?
Darshan.
Shad is 6 and darshan means to see. So basically it's like to see reality or to see truth or to see. So this is referred to the 6 philosophies of life. Now these 6 philosophies of life are based on what?
The Vedas.
The Vedas. Yeah. Now, what are those Vedas? How many are there? The main Vedas.
4. The Rig Veda.
You have the Rig Veda, which is the oldest one, right? And this contains mainly what?
Sound with vibration. Mantra.
The threads.
Mantras. The oldest mantra. It's the book of mantras, right? Then you have, which other? Samaveda. Yeah, the name tells you already what it is, like sama, you know? Like sama, something that is, what is vibration, what is music, what is, you know, it's just referring to, like, of course, divine music, not like pop songs. So this is what?
It's the book of songs.
Book of songs. It sounds, but you know, like, please, like, you need to, you know, it's melodies and musical notes, and it's just not song, okay? What else?
Ayurveda.
Ayurveda, which is what?
The book of rituals.
And what else?
Religious
Guidebook for grief.
Arthavaveda.
Oh.
Arthavaveda. So you have Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Arthavaveda. Yajurveda. So remember, not only you have the main Vedas, but you have Upavedas, which are like sub divisions or books from these books. So it is said, like I told you, that Ayurveda is an Upaveda of the Rig Veda, and other books you're going to say that Ayurveda is an Upaveda of Arthavaveda. I'm very inclined to say that it's from the first Veda because here they speak about the elements from the very first time. So Ayurveda is based on the elements, but there's some authorities, I mean, these people that have dedicated themselves to the study of the Vedas, you know, this is just not a book, it's just like a whole universe in a book. So then, what are the Chardarshan? Yeah, your friend. So you have Sankhya philosophy. What else? Nyaya. What else? Vaisheshika. What else? What else?
Yoga.
And?
Vedanta.
Okay. What is Sankhya about?
It's about everything and nothing at the same time.
Very good. Yeah, that was very good. Nyaya. Yeah, the philosophy philosophy of logic. Remember, you do not need to know. I'm talking about like test-wise, like your final exam. Don't get overwhelmed about explaining, but really you need to know what this gave to Ayurveda. Because Ayurveda is based on this philosophy. So when you kind of understand what they're about, you understand what's Ayurveda. See what I mean? So it's important that you at least know. What is Vaisheshika?
Liberation.
Understanding it, the nature of things, just to reach liberation.
What is Mimamsa?
Understanding the truth
Analyzing.
or your dharma.
Truth through Dharma. I mean, you know what it means, right? Mm-hmm. Yoga.
Controlling the mind.
Controlling. Why?
Because you can find yourself with the Creator. Connect.
Right, very good. But before that, you have these thoughts that unless they're not controlled and they
You
can
can't
be
focus.
like steady, unless the mind is steady, you cannot realize anything with the Creator. I mean, you can have flashes, like moments of, like we call it, like moments of enlightenment or moments of, like in nature. Like I have a friend who actually finds that in nature. Like she goes out and she's like, I literally feel. I mean, I don't want to say the word like orgasm, but I feel this energy, this amazing release and this oneness. It's like when I'm like around the trees, like I don't have to do anything, I just have to sit. And look, like you have those moments where you can grasp just a taste of what that is like, But that doesn't mean that we're, available to that at all times, because the nature of the mind is to jump. So that is the nature. Even you see like the monks in the monasteries that have been living there since kids and they have a mala, and you see them going with their mala. Like it doesn't matter. I mean, and those are like monks because they understand the nature of the mind. So no matter how advanced or how much work you think you've done, the nature of the mind will be always to bring you out of, because it's that ahamkar. Remember ahamkar? Yes. So what is the Vedanta?
Gain of knowledge.
And this knowledge. Okay, so you guys know. We move on? Okay. So after that, before we go into anything, do we need to go over Sankhya philosophy or no? I don't think you guys.
I just have one question. The three aspects of the mind, do those come with when you reach the ego? Do they come when you reach the discriminatory of buddhi?
Yeah,
Or
those
do they
are in
come-
relationship. Those is like between buddhi and ahamkar. Those,
Okay.
because that's the faculty of reasoning, and you cannot reason if you don't have a remember. If you don't acquire knowledge, if you don't compare that knowledge, and if you don't remember that knowledge.
Right.
Right? So it happened, that faculty is developed then when the mind, it actually has like a container to be contained. So it's not like something that is just a faculty somewhere. Now it has a boss, which is the mind. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So then we spoke about the goals of life. Oh, we need to talk about the text, but let's finish with the goals of life. What are the goals of life? Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. What is Dharma? But duty,
Your purpose of life.
exactly. It's just that your duty. My duty right now is to teach you, but besides that, my dharma is actually to teach you also. but outside of here, I'm a mom, like I'm a daughter, many other things. Artha. What is Artha?
Material.
Pursue of wealth.
Abundance.
Yeah. Kama.
Desires.
Pursue of pleasure, desires. And moksha. Liberation. Very good. So if I ask you, would you be able to elaborate on those?
Yes.
Okay. If I ask you, would you be able to elaborate on those?
Some of them, yeah. Yeah.
Yes? Okay. And text. Ayurvedic text. You have the greater three and the lesser three, right? Mm-hmm. So these books came up, especially the greater three, like back in those days, Ayurveda was delineated into two main schools of thoughts, remember? You don't need to know the dates, like it was like 1500 before Christ, or if it was exactly in 323 this book, but you should read about it so you have understanding and knowledge. These two schools of thoughts were different, school of physicians and school of surgeons, and they led to the writings of the main two books in Ayurveda available, which is the Charaka Samhita and the Susutra Samhita. The Charaka Samhita is in reference to internal medicine. Susutra Samhita is mainly for surgery. And then you have the Ashtanga Hridayam, which is the compilation of those two. So you have Charaka Samhita, Susutra Samhita, and Ashtanga Hridayam. The lesser three. What are the lesser three? Sharara. Which is what? Pharmacology.
The formulations.
Yes, I'm just giving you keywords. You should be able to really talk about that. So, once you study and you those are the formulations used for Panchakarma. Mm-hmm. They also talk about some herb, the doshas, the sub-doshas. I mean, you're gonna go through that.
So we're gonna be able to we're gonna be doing these formulations?
Oh yes, of course. Those are the books where Ayurveda is developed. This sutra of the definition of a healthy person comes from the Sutra Samhita.
Oh,
like for example, the sutras, why ghee, clarified butter, mm-hmm. It's cooling, that is a sutra. That comes from the Charaka Samhita. Mm-hmm. So all these are sutras. All what you're studying, what you're going to be learning, like for example, like next month with the doctor, anatomy and physiology, how the tissues are formed and those are sutra. I mean, that is where Ayurveda is based on. I was just gonna do that. So,
which one do you want to find?
Actually, let them look at them. We have females, I think.
There's a couple.
So you're gonna see there. All those are Ashtanga Hridayam. Yeah. Here, you can grab one. Those are the Ashtanga Hridayam. So you can have an idea. Perfect. We have. So you see, that's the sutra. And then there's the explanation of the sutra. That's the sutra. Yeah, it's amazing. Absolutely. So that's the sutra. And these are the concepts that you will go through, you know. Especially Ashtanga Hidaya is more like when you do your second year, when you actually start studying like disease itself. That's more, you know. So that is an example. If you ever want to check the books, remember those books are from the library, so you can check, you know, when time comes, or we just need to write down who take them when, because we expect them back. And, but you'll have fun, and I also have, I have to bring it, I forgot, the Kaya Chikitsa, books on Kaya Chikitsa. Those are amazing. Like, let's say, they're specifically, let's say, asthma. You know, they have the sutras. You know, like Kaya Chikitsa is internal medicine, so it's divided on digestive system, respiratory. So let's say gastritis, or so you look for the imbalance, and it explains what happens in the body, how to. I mean, it's really incredible. And those scriptures are before the birth of Christ. I mean, like when you think about it, it's like, you know. It is said that every single disease is completely described. Ayurveda even described AIDS, cancer. They don't call it by these names.
Right.
Like AIDS is not called AIDS back in those days, but the imbalance, what happens to the body, it has a complete description in Ayurveda.
That's incredible because it didn't even present itself in our society until, what was it, the 70s?
Sure.
And they had it thousands of years ago.
Yeah, but remember, this science is from the very beginning of existence. So these conditions, I mean, we're not, you know, like Francis is always say, you know, we're not there's nothing new that we are. We're just repeating all these imbalances. I mean, our body is made of what? The elements plus the soul and the mind. So there is nothing new. Whether it's spiritual, whether it's mental, whether it's physical, we're repeating absolutely everything. I mean, we're composed, we're made of these things that we learned yesterday. You see? So all these imbalances, that's why the eye disorders, they're like, so of course they're research, and there's always room for investigations and new, you know, like the iPhones, you know. I mean, back in those days, how would you think you could like do FaceTime? Like, look at someone, your loved one that is across the world through a little phone. Like, look at their face. I mean, there's always room for, but the basics, when it comes to that body, to our system, we've been like this since the beginning. We've existed since it's just a different suit. You know, you take a suit, you discard the suit, and then you get another suit. There's nothing really new. But of course, in this part of the world, it's like Ayurveda. When you talk about Ayurveda, it's like, oh, what is that new thing? I'm like, oh my god. It's like, all right. So, what do you have then? After Shanagana,
Bhava Prakasha.
This is what?
About the herbal medicine.
Herbal medicine. And give explanation and characteristics of plant, minerals, and food. Okay? What else?
Madhara Nidana.
Nidana. What's this?
Women's disorder.
Classification of disease. Diagnosis and pathology. Is that clear? So we cover pretty much everything, right? Then you read, please, on your own, how Ayurveda has influenced all the other medical systems. And a little bit of, I think on the, what are the books? We gave you the pages, right? And the syllabus. Especially on Ayurveda, nature's medicine. You're gonna read about the beginnings of Ayurveda. I mean, it's important that you know some history. Yesterday we went over that, how the Egyptians, the Greek, the Romans, how influenced European medicine, how influenced Tibetan and Chinese medicine, how influenced Siddha medicine, the very south of India, which is Siddha. It's a very big deal. I mean, it's like as big as Ayurveda. So, you know, you should be like well versed in this kind of, you know, if someone asks you, especially because some of them later on, we're going to give you some activities to do outside of school, like give some presentations, and even if it's to your friends or to your pets, or, you know, you really should be able to speak about Ayurveda in terms where you can educate people, because that's what we want from you, especially after this first year. It's really to be able to educate. That's our mission, because you guys are like pioneers of this, especially in this country where there's not so much. Eventually we're going to see Ayurvedic practitioners like we see acupuncturists. Like nowadays you can see even 2 in a block, I mean, in certain areas. Ayurveda will be at some point like that, and you guys already, but we gotta educate. That is the main part. So okay, we're gonna start with Panchamahabhuta theory. So basically, on your PowerPoint main Ayurvedic text, the next page is Panchamahabhuta, right? You have the elements. Before we go straight to the elements, last night I was thinking, what was the best thing to say from the Tammatra, so you would like the best expression for the understanding of the elements. And I thought about, remember the Tammatras? Yes, the 5 Tammatras. I said, well, the best way is like to say they were incarnated to form the elements. It's not like when Rajas interacted with Tamas, the 5 elements and the 5 Tammatras were created. The 5 Tammatras is that subtle energy, and they kind of like incarnate within the elements. You see what I mean? That's why you can relate to one another. That's why like sound will be related to what? To space or ether. So the Tammatras incarnate to form the 5 elements. Tammatra, remember, they're subtle essence. And these are what? Sound, touch, vision, taste, and smell. I want you to know the words in Sanskrit. For sound, you have shabda. For touch, you have sparsha. Remember? vision, you have rupa. Taste, you have rasa. Agnada, smell. So the Panchamahabhuta theory establishes that everything in the universe is made of the elements. Absolutely everything in this universe is made of the combination of the 5 elements. And each element is a combination of all the tanmatras with the predominance of one. So, any questions so far? Do you see the relationship between the tanmatra and the elements? So the tanmatras incarnated to form the elements. Tanmatras, remember, they're the subtle essence. It's sound, touch, vision, taste, and smell. And all the elements are a combination. You have space, or ether, air. What else? Fire, water, and earth. Something very important, I do want you to know the names in Sanskrit. So what's the name in Sanskrit for space?
Gosh.
Yes. For air, Vajra. Think of Vaya, of Vata. Vaya. For fire, Tejas. These are some of the words you do have to know. Agni, to me, is like the most amazing concept in Ayurveda, like my favorite, actually, like a fire. Like the word Agni, because not only is the Agni that's going to cook the foods you eat, the Agni in your heart that allows you to have goals, to love, to do the things you want to do in life. The Agni in your eyes that allows the vision to take place. Like this particle, this energy interacts with your cornea, and it sends the message to your brain and say, okay, she's wearing white. Or, I mean, this is because of the fire element that is transforming, that is metabolizing information. So it is said whatever you put through fire never goes back to be the same. Because it's true. Whatever you put through fire never goes back to be the same. So this is an amazing company, this Agni. We'll talk about Tejas later on, because even though this refer as fire, they're very two different things. Okay? Tejas is the brilliance of Pitta. Tejas is the very essence, like when Pitta is at its peak, like brilliant, like the essence, the substance of Pitta. Like Prana is the essence of Vata, and Ojas is the essence of Kapha. Ojas means immunity. So the very refined product of this doshas, the functioning, the physiology, the metabolism, when these doshas are working properly and everything is in place, that's what you obtain from each one of them. prana, tejas and ojas, which is the very essence, the juice, the what keeps you healthy. You know, prana to be able to be alive, and tejas to be able to metabolize and see things and experience things and digest things, and ojas to be able to have immunity, to be healthy. Okay? So this is something else, but I just want you to set room in your brain for this. Super fine essence of Vata Pitta Kapha. Well, we haven't even talked about doshas yet, but I know you guys have an understanding because most of you have read and know about Ayurveda. So I don't have any like babies. Someone that comes from the street that don't even know Ayurveda. I mean, usually to dedicate yourself and to commit to study the science, you have to have some kind.
It's most of it.
So what's water?
Jala.
Jala. Jamuna. I just thought of one of the most sacred rivers in India. It's called Jamuna. Jala. So there's a beautiful song that comes about Jamuna River. So what else? Jala, and it has another name. Apa. And what else? Prithvi.
So for the jala and the apa, is it kind of the same as that?
No, they both mean water. They both mean water, but fire, Agni and Tejas, it's more in the like digestion and metabolism and but they're both fire. Like if you talk about Tejas, but if you talk about Tejas in Sanskrit, if you look it up on Google, it will say fire. But in the Ayurvedic scriptures, documents, you know, when we talk about Tejas, it's the superfine essence of Pitta, which is related to fire. What's Pitta is fire, but it's a little different. Now, let me just make sure. I had a nice thing to be here. Okay. So, imagine from that state of subtle vibration of the cosmic Om, remember Samkhya? From that state of subtle vibration of the cosmic Om that is already manifested. We're not talking about unmanifested Prakruta Purusha. We're talking about like lower in creation. Space is created. Okay, that's the first element. Imagine from this ether is created, it's so subtle that it's like invisible. It's like non-resistant, right? Imagine like abundance, like space. When you think of space, you think of love. Because love gives you space, gives you room to love. Like really, like, so when you think of space in that way, so there's some characteristics that you should add. You can say it's invisible, just for you to understand the sequence in creation, non-resistant. Space gives us love. Compassion and joy. Now this ethereal, it starts to move, right? The space is just not there. Remember, you have like Prakriti within all of that. This space, this ethereal particles, or no particle, this ethereal space starts to move, creating air. And this subtle movement, remember, all this is very subtle. I'm just putting it into words in a way. I don't want to just tell you space, air, fire. These are the order of creation. I want to give you some keywords so you're thinking about how these elements are created, right? So this subtle movement, you can put here, ethereal, began to move. And that sort of movement creates air. Now, air, think of air as ether in action. Michelle, right? Mm-hmm. Think of air as ether in action. How about space? So this air creates air. It produces friction, right? When you have air, eventually will produce friction, and friction will produce what? Heat. And heat will produce what? Light. Correct? So this air produces friction. And through friction, heat is generated. Now, particles of this heat combine to form intense light. So let's go back. You have Akasha, you have space. Imagine this invisible, non-resistant openness, qualities of space. This ethereal began to move. And this sort of movement creates air. The air, of course, will produce friction, and friction will produce heat. And this, when that heat is generated, these particles of the heat will combine in a form that will produce a very intense light, and from that fire is expressed. I mean, that's the best way in words that I can explain this. But now when we go through the elements, you're gonna see it even better, okay? So this fire, even though a space produces air and air produces fire, within fire you have these two elements already. You see what I mean? What? Tell me.
It's just, there could be no fire without the space and the air. And I mean, it's just connected.
Exactly, but it gives you the idea of what comes first. I want you to understand what comes first and what comes second, because this is going to take a very important, this is like the very foundation. It seems very basic, but if you really understand this, then you will be able to understand the gunas later on, okay? So then this fire, you can add there, the heat of fire dissolves and liquefies, dissolves and liquefies some ethereal